Hey ghouls and gals, welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor and today is the start of another weekly reading vlog. It is November 1st, the start of a brand new month. A brand new, very exciting month for me, both personally and hopefully professionally, because for one thing, it is NaNoWriMo. So happy Nano to all of you who are desperately trying to get 50,000 words this month. I am one of those as well. It is about 12? No, it's 10:53 right now, and I have gotten about 400 words in, so feeling pretty good, although I am trying to get around 3,000 words for the first week because I have a very, very busy month. In November, I'm not going to be writing a lot towards the end, so I'm trying to front load as much as I can in the beginning of the month. So Nano's going well so far. I'd say tentatively it's going well. I mean, you know, the first day it's always bright and shiny and new and fun and everyone's so excited, so I'm going to ride that optimism for as long as I can. So that is writing news. This is going to be mostly a reading vlog, but to be honest, you know, Nano is going to cut into my reading time quite significantly, so I will be talking about that, giving some updates as well, just also to keep myself accountable, keep myself on track, because it is definitely a lot easier to get things accomplished when you have people either cheering you on or just knowing that you're doing it. So yeah, no, going well so far. I look a little bit rough, at least I know I'm my biggest critic, but yesterday was Halloween. I did a very makeup intensive ghoul slash ghost look. My partner was Zach Bagans. It was a lot of fun. I washed my face like 3 to 5 times last night and I still couldn't get everything off, so yeah, there's still remnants, so I feel a little bit scraggly from last night, but ready to kick off this brand new month, that's for sure. It's a brand new exciting month of reads. The read that I'm currently reading is Caitlin Starling's Last to Leave the Room. This is the Illumicray Evernight edition, so if you don't recognize it, the regular cover looks quite different. Have to say this one is way cooler, so I'm feeling very lucky that I got it. But this is what I'm currently reading so far. It takes place, I feel like most of Caitlin Starling's works, in like a parallel world to ours, or like an alternate timeline to our world, but this takes place in the present tense. I think California. The city of San Sirocco is sinking. Dr. Tamsin Rivers is a part of a research team trying to figure out what's causing this sinking, and her own basement is also sinking, but it's sinking at a faster rate than the rest of the city around her, and I think this also has to do with like a doppelganger or something that comes into play, so looking forward to this one. Caitlin Starling always has really interesting like paranormal and also like scientific, like sci-fi and horror blends to the work that she writes, so I'm intrigued to keep reading this one. I'm also still going to be primarily reading a lot of horror. I know October is technically over, but this is a horror all year long channel, but also all of my holds have already started coming in like all at once. I think a lot of people who don't, and no judgment to them, want to read horror anymore. They're getting holds in at the library and then they're just returning them, so I'm getting a lot of horror there as well. Like I just got The Night House by Joe Nesbo. That's one I want to read this week, and then I also got not horror, but since I do have this audiobook hold at the moment, I need to read it before I get put on the wait list again. Britney Spears is The Woman in Me. I don't know, I've really been enjoying celebrity memoirs recently, as in this year recently, and I've been hearing very interesting things about that one, so all those books are on the radar. So those are kind of my main goals at the moment, my main reading goals, my main writing goals. Just wanted to come on here, open up this brand new November vlog. It's a new month. It's gonna be a fun month, but I am going to go get to reading, get to writing, and I will talk to y'all later with another reading update. Hey friends, happy Thursday. I'm coming to you with not a reading update because I haven't done much reading since I think yesterday when I started off the vlog, but I did finally feel well enough to go to the library. So I do have a little bit of a library haul. Went and saw one of my good friends who still works at the library, returned some books. Obviously got some books. I had some holds. I also perused the new book section and picked up some books that sounded good. So yeah, a little bit of a library haul, and who knows how this will impact my reading in November. But we've got a lot of horror, and the only non-horror book that I have on this stack is The Disenchantment by Celia Bell. This is historical fiction. This is also sapphic historical fiction, but it's in 17th century Paris. Everyone has something to hide. The Disenchantment is a stunning debut that conjures an unexpected world of passion, crime, intrigue, and black magic. So very much interested in this one. I do love some sapphic historical fiction, and yeah, the rest of these are horror. Surprise, surprise. So first we have Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. I've kind of been enjoying going into library holds like as blind as possible, not knowing a lot about it. So this is a horror about an island. Don't know anything else. I'm looking forward to checking it out. That was one I just saw on the shelf and grabbed. One of my holds that I grabbed was Black River Orchard by Chuck Wendig. I've heard good things about this author. I've never read anything from this author. I wanted to read the Book of Accidents last year, and I did not get to that. So I still want to go pick that one up. That's haunted house horror, I believe. And this one is small town horror, which I also love. So been hearing really good things about this one. A lot of people read it in October and enjoyed it, so I had to pick that one up. We also have The Dead Take the A Train by Cassandra Khaw. I love Cassandra Khaw. Their work, I've really enjoyed everything that I've read by them. This one is co-written. It's co-written with Richard Cadre, and this one seems like, okay, so this is the first explosive adventure in a duology, and it's cosmic horror, gritty fantasy, absolutely gorgeous cover. So looking forward to reading this one because, again, really enjoy the author and just the cover is cool. It's a Tor Nightfire release, and I tend to really enjoy their releases as well. And then last but not least, we have another really cool cover from an author I've enjoyed, and I didn't realize he had anything new out. That would be Spin a Black Yarn by Josh Malerman, and this is for 5 novellas. So 5 haunted tales of horror and speculative fiction from the author behind Bird Box. So this is another pretty cool cover, but I thought, you know, let's try, a lot of these are bigger books, let's try a short story collection from an author I've enjoyed before. So yeah, that was my very short, very sweet little library haul. I feel like I might pick up one of those later on. I'm also going back home this weekend, so I might bring one of them along with me, even though I probably shouldn't. I probably won't have time to read anything, but it's always nice to travel with a book. So yeah, that's today's little update. Had a good time going back to the library and getting some fresh new books, and yeah, that's about it. I will talk to you all later. So it has been a hot minute since we talked last. The last time that I gave an update was before I went home to visit my family, and I ended up just like hanging out with them a lot longer than I had anticipated. Truthfully, just because why not? Honestly, because it had been such a long time. I was supposed to see them in October. I got sick. I had to wait until I tested negative before I could go back and see them, and it was just, you know, a long time coming. My grandparents ended up coming, so I ended up spending almost like a week, I think a little over a week, back home, which was nice. I love working from home because I was able to work and just be with my family, and also it was a, you know, 10-hour drive, so I definitely wasn't wanting to drive 10 hours, stay for only a couple days and then drive back. So that's what I've been up to. I know it's only been like a couple of minutes of b-roll footage for you, but it's been quite a bit of time for me since I sat down and talked with y'all. I got a haircut, just getting ready for, I get married in like 9 days, which is crazy. It's crunch time. It's really snuck up on us. My partner still needs to do his hair. I still need to, like, we do all of that at home, so we still need to do his hair. We need to bleach mine and then re-dye it, and just pack and get ready, and all of that good stuff to go on vacation and get married. So yeah, bookish update. I did end up reading a little bit when I was back home. Mostly I did read like in the car via audiobook. So the first book that I read was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Listened to this on audiobook. It was about 6 hours, I think. So it really took up a lot of time in the car, which was nice. And I was at first disappointed that Britney Spears doesn't narrate this herself, because I really enjoy when audiobooks are narrated by their authors, especially when it's nonfiction. However, she does like introduce the audiobook and reads like just a short little blurb, I guess, at the beginning, and she says that, you know, it was enough to write about it. She couldn't read and go through that again, which is totally fair if you read what she had to go through, and I just feel so bad for her. I think we as a society just really failed her, and the people who are supposed to keep her safe, whether that was her parents, the adults around her, management, like everything just continuously being failed by every single person. That was very sad. I'd love to hope that if like similar things kind of happened to a starlet today, that we as a society would, number one, be kinder to her, but also that she would have more of a support system and more people like helping her and being on her side rather than being against her. So that was very interesting, very quick, very like speedy read. So I read that one, and then the next book that I read was From Below by Darcy Coates, and boy oh boy am I so excited to have such a huge backlog of Darcy Coates books. I have never read anything from this author before. I always hear her name. I feel like a lot of people talk about her books as like cozy horror, which I'm not quite sure how to categorize cozy horror. Is it just horror that has like a genuinely like a happy ending? Because I don't know, this one is about a crew who dives down to the wreckage of this ship that has been missing for years and years and years and years. It went missing in like 1910, something like that. Like it went missing around the same time as the Titanic sunk, but no one knows what happened to it. No one knows what happened to the crew. It's a mystery surrounding the ship. We finally in present day find the remains of that ship below at the bottom of the ocean, and a team of divers dives down to film this ship to try and kind of get answers to what happened to the ship, film footage for a documentary on it, and things start happening. Again, cozy horror, I don't know, because I was so freaked out by this. This is like very claustrophobic. I think if you liked In the Drowning Deep by Mara Grant, also The Luminous by Caitlin Starling, The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling, just having that like very claustrophobic feeling of you are in a wetsuit. Even in like a haunted house, theoretically, you know, you could leave out the front door and like escape that way. But this way, like, you're stuck at the bottom of the ocean. You're relying on technology to keep you alive, keep you breathing. And, you know, if something bad happens down there, you can't just shoot up to the surface. You have to like slowly climb up so that, you know, you don't get the bends. And that aspect was the creepiest to me. Just that claustrophobic, not only are you exploring the pitch dark wreckage of a ship, but where creepy things are happening, but just the fact that you are so stuck down there and you're so at the mercy of everything going exactly right. But I enjoyed this. This is for my found footage girlies. If you like the movie Ghost Ship, I think you'll love this one. If you enjoyed, what was that essay Barnes that came out? Was it earlier this year or last year? Dead Silence? If you enjoyed that, it's essentially a very similar exploration of a mysterious wreck that disappeared, except the ones in space, one's at the bottom of the ocean. I was creeped out. I enjoyed it. I already placed holds on other Darcy Coates books because I'm very, very excited to read some more by this author. I was highly entertained. So those were like the two books that I've been reading. I'm also still currently reading and annotating Queen of Shadows. That one I accidentally left at home. I was gonna bring it with me and I didn't. And I ended up not bringing any physical books with me. So I think I'm going to dive into that. Dive into some physical books. I've got a lot of library books. Some of them I should probably return before I go on vacation, and I'm still loving horror. I'm also in a dragon fantasy mood. I just finished up a reread of the entire Aragon series. You should be seeing that video before this one in preparation for Murtaugh coming out. I did get an audiobook ALC from Libro FM that Murtaugh is one of the ones, which is just so cool. So I'm very excited to read that. So potentially might be picking that up as well. So yeah, those, you know, really, I guess my plans. I'm trying to work a little bit more this week so that I don't have to work at all next week. So we'll see how that goes. NaNoWriMo is going great and going horribly at the same time. It's just been a busy month, and I have not written as much as I need to. I think I need to be at almost like 20k words or something like that now. I'm like at 10,000, but I am like loving what I'm writing. I feel like this year, last year I really started to do this, but this year, like, I really don't feel as critical towards myself. I still like notice places because, you know, NaNoWriMo is more of a sprint. You're just trying to get words on a page. I do notice places where I'll be like, oh, like I will want to fix that later. That's not like how I want it to be. But I'm not like writing every single sentence and then immediately going, I hate this. This is bad. So I'm feeling good about that. So I do have a lot of writing to do. I'd love to finish Nano. I'd love to win Nano because I am feeling so good about the project that I'm working on. However, it's just, you know, I definitely won't be writing like any next week. So I'm gonna try and work a lot, write a lot. I also want to read a lot just because I just like to read. I mean, this is a reading vlog, so obviously. Now, I am currently in the middle of Last to Leave the Room by Starling. Actually, I did not take this with me for obvious reasons. I did not want to travel with this beautiful overnight copy, but I did have the audiobook, which is narrated by an audiobook author that I really enjoy, Xe Sands. So I'm about 40% of the way through this one, and it's a little creepy. It's more so creepy at this point because 40% of the way through, obviously things could happen. It definitely feels like almost like a sci-fi gothic horror with the pace, but it's also one where, at least to me, the horror is not necessarily the events that are happening, but if you sit back and think about it, like just on a thematic and an existential level, that's the horror. If you really sit back and think with the concepts and the things that are happening in here. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I feel like I've mentioned what this is about in this vlog. It's been a while, so yeah. Starling writes amazing sci-fi horror. So I feel like I could finish this today because I'm at a point where I just feel like things are gonna start really picking up and happening, and it's about clones. Kind of, it's about doppelgangers. We don't know if it's like a clone situation, a doppelganger situation, but there's two of our main character and she doesn't know how that happened. So yeah,
All she knows is that there's a mysterious door that just appeared in her basement, and that's when her clone doppelganger walked out. So yes, we're gonna see what's going on there. So I am gonna finish this, figure out what else I want to read this week, and yeah, get to working. So welcome back to the vlog. Sorry if I've been a little rusty. I haven't sat down and filmed a reading update in quite a bit of time, but I'm gonna go get to working, get to writing, get to reading, and I will talk to you all later in another reading update. Happy Thursday vlog. I finished Last to Leave the Room by Starling, and Evernight has done it again. 2 for 2 books that I've really enjoyed, which is just, it's so nice. Honestly, the reason why I didn't have any subscription boxes to like Illumicrate or Owlcrate or Fairy Loot, anything like that. I love beautiful books, but it's a big investment for books that you may or may not like, which is why I finally pulled the trigger when it came to the Evernight box, because it's not every month, and I do tend to really love the horror releases that Illumicrate has kind of put a spotlight on in the past. So 2 for 2, I have this beautiful book now that I can keep on my shelves because I really enjoyed this one as well. There was a moment that I wish was a little bit longer of a scenario with our main character that had me squirming in my seat, like true horror. Like Starling just has such a good way of mixing sci-fi and medical and just like body horror in very, very unique ways to get you creeped out. So I really enjoyed this. If you love sci-fi movies, if you love sci-fi horror, and you really liked the movie Us by Jordan Peele, pick this up. I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say too much about it because it's a wild ride, and it just, yeah. It was a wild ride. I enjoyed it. It's not my favorite Starling. I think my favorite one is still The Death of Jane Lawrence. But this was pretty cool because it like follows like a very gothic structure. It's very slow moving. It's very slow to start. And then the ending is very like explosive. But it's like a modern sci-fi sort of story. If you love gothics and you love science fiction, you love horror, blending all those together, check this out. I really enjoyed it, so that was pretty fun. Now I get to have this gorgeous book on my shelves, knowing that I've read it and really enjoyed it. For my next read, because I think I want to wrap this vlog up on Friday, yeah, Friday or maybe early Saturday, depending on when me and my partner leave. I want to wrap this vlog up then. So I want to kind of get to something that I can read within the time period of just a couple days, and I think this library book is, I think it's going to fit the bill of what I want to read in this very short period of time between being home and then leaving for a trip. So Spin a Black Yarn by Josh Malerman. I did not know that this had come out. This was not on my release radar, which is strange because I like Josh Malerman and he's a big, I feel like, heavy hitter in the horror and speculative fiction space, but I had not seen anyone talk about this, and I just saw on my library's catalog page their new releases. They had this there and I had to check it out. It has got such a fun cover, and it is a collection of 5 stories, and yeah, 5 tales of horror and speculative fiction. So I'm I'm quite excited. I'm quite excited to check this one out. I really, really loved Daphne last year. It was in my top 10 books of the year. So I really enjoy, even when I don't enjoy a Josh Malerman book, I have an interesting time reading it. So I'm interested to see. I don't think I've ever read anything in short form by him. So this has 5 stories. Half the House is Haunted, Argyle, The Jupiter Drop, Doug and Judy by the Housewasher, and Igorov. So I'm very intrigued to see what kind of novellas these are. The title page has a fun little woodcut lady there, which kind of matches like the very folksy cover. I don't know if that's what the stories are going to be or not, but yeah, I'm excited. So, you know, just because the last book I read was a repeat author, let's, you know, go with another repeat author. Hopefully I enjoy these novellas, and yeah, very excited. My partner, we're gonna cut his hair tonight, bleach my hair tonight, just get ready. It's going to be a very fun DIY salon sort of experience for the 2 of us. So yeah, when he's bleaching my hair, I don't know, we'll either probably watch something, or if he wants to watch something, he gets to pick, because he's the one doing the bleach and I just sit there and enjoy having someone bleaching my hair. He gets to pick the show or whatever for that. So if I'm not interested, I'll probably be reading this, but nevertheless gonna dive into the first short story of this collection, and I will check back in with another reading update a bit later. Friends, so you know, I don't know if you can tell by the new haircut, hair color, just like overall demeanor, and just the obscenely long amount of b-roll footage that I have in between last talking clip and this talking clip. It has been a while since I've talked to you. I'm just gonna keep this vlog going and end it at the end of the week, because surprise, surprise, when I went to Vegas last week to get married to my long-term partner, I didn't end up reading like at all. I know, like who could have guessed, right? But I did anticipate that I was going to have a bit more time to read, like on the plane and just at night and just other like times in between. Sorry, my dogs are like very, very Velcro right now because we've been apart for about a week, so they're very Velcro-y. They're right at my feet. So if you hear some dog ambiance, they're like right below me. They're not gonna move, so just letting you know that. But yeah, I didn't read a lot. I had a lot of fun though. I'm not even going to pretend like the books that I was like planning to read, planning to bring at the beginning of this vlog, I think it was a Josh Malerman book that I had wanted to pick up. I did not read any of that. I wanted to, but I didn't get around to it. Number one, I just didn't even bring the book with me. So I was really reliant on Libby and just other like audiobook sort of formats and ebooks for books as well. So yeah, I had wanted to read more, it just didn't end up happening. I actually, in the like day or so before I went on my trip, I finished my reread of Sarah J Maas's Queen of Shadows. This is the first time I annotated this book. This definitely, for me, so far is my favorite book. And the Throne of Glass series, that could absolutely change. Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, that's not gonna be my favorite. I know that for a fact. And then also Kingdom of Ash. I'm trying to read all of those. I wanted to reread them all in November. I think in my November TBR I was very ambitious and said that I wanted to bring Kingdom of Ash with me on the plane. That just obviously didn't happen because I just finished this one before leaving. So finished this. There are some passages in here that I'm glad I was annotating because I marked up, especially considering the 2024 January Sarah J Maas release. Yeah, very excited for that. So I finished that. The next book is, of course, Empire of Storms. I'm playing around and flirting with the idea of doing the tandem read. A lot of people do now between Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. I'm almost considering, I want to skip Tower of Dawn because I wasn't the hugest fan the first time I read it, although it was the first book where I started to like Kale. I've never liked Kale throughout this whole series, but I don't want to skip Tower of Dawn because some of the things that have been mentioned and some of like the connections connections I'm making between different series, I think I'm gonna need a Tower of Dawn reread to try and catch some of those Easter eggs. So I am considering starting this one this week, just kind of slowly getting myself back into the hang of things in terms of just reading and obviously getting back to work. So let's, you know, catch you up with what you missed. Saturday, me and my partner drove 10 hours from Little Rock to Ohio to first drop off the dogs at like the one and only dog boarding place that we trust in the Ohio area. And it's also like where my parents, my family's been taking their dogs for a while. So when we're leaving the dogs for a very long time, that is where we trust them. And so we dropped them off, said goodbye, tears were shed. I'm an emotional dog mom. And then we had a couple of days hanging out with our families, and then we set off. On Tuesday, we really started our vacation, flew from Columbus to Chicago, Chicago to Las Vegas. First time I've been on a plane in a long time. That was a lot of fun. And then the first night we went to this really cool pizza place called Evil Pies, and it's like Evel Knievel themed. My parents and my partner's dad like really loved Evel Knievel. When they were kids, they were like prime time to really be enamored by that entertainer. So of course we wanted to go there. It was a really cool eating experience, and they also had both like regular and vegan pizza, which I tried to pick out. Las Vegas is a very vegan friendly city, so we did that. That was pretty much all we did on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday we did something that was a huge bucket list of mine. I have wanted to go to Zach Bacon's Haunted Museum for forever, since I knew it existed. I love Ghost Adventures. It's been one of like my comfort TV shows like ever since it first aired. I used to watch it at sleepovers in middle school, and just from them, it's a lot of fun. And really I think revolutionized. I feel like there's a direct pipeline between people who liked Ghost Adventures are now big fans of like Watcher and true crime podcasts, and of course, you know, the Watcher, Ghoul Boys, BuzzFeed Unsolved, all of that. Like there's a lot of overlap. So that was the cornerstone. We went to Zach Bacon's Haunted Museum. Super cool. I definitely would recommend. I know a lot of things in Vegas are super expensive. We did the like VIP tours, which unlocks more rooms of the museum. We couldn't film in any of the rooms, but like that was so worth it. I would highly recommend if you're super interested. Some of the coolest parts were places that you could only go in if you had VIP access. So definitely very cool there. That's what we did on Wednesday. We also had Chef Kenny's vegan dim sum, and I don't even think I got any footage of anything. I really wish I had. This was one of my favorite places that I ate. My whole entire family, like a lot of them don't even like Chinese food that much, and they loved it. My little sister doesn't really like anything except for crab rangoon, and she said that this was the best Chinese food she's ever had. So highly recommend, you know, if you're plant-based, if you're not, if you just want some really freaking good Asian food, you know, Chef Kenny's vegan dim sum, amazing. And that was Wednesday's dinner. Thursday, the big thing was, you know, number one, Thanksgiving. We did not celebrate it. You know, we had more important things to celebrate, like our marriage. We went to Area 15 and went to Omega Mart, which is this super cool, like very Instagrammable, sort of immersive, artistic experience. So hard to explain, so trippy walking through it. Really feels like you're in a dream, like you're switching portals between worlds. That was so cool. We did that on Thursday. Honestly, you could spend all day there if you wanted. We had a lot of fun, and it was a super fun way to just hang out and enjoy ourselves before Friday, which was our wedding. I did get some footage. We got married at the Valley of Fire State Park, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was so gorgeous. I have photos up on my Instagram, but I did not like take any video. I took a video driving to the venue. I was so excited. Just it was an absolutely beautiful place. The pictures turned out fantastic, and it was just such a gorgeous place. We ate at Crossroads Las Vegas, which again, some of the best food, point blank period, I've ever had. Not just vegan food, but food in general. It was absolutely delicious. And then on Saturday we went hiking at Red Rock Canyon, and unfortunately really early on Sunday we had to fly home, and you know, wrapping it back up a couple of days to kind of rest and reset and slowly ease my way back into working, back to the normalcy of non-vacation, non-getting married life. Yeah, here we are. I did read a little bit on the plane, and I have to remember now that I'm not only on a plane to finish up this book because I don't have a physical copy. It's just the ebook copy, but I've been reading Hazardous Spirits by Anbara Salam, and this one is very interesting. It's historical fiction, and it takes place in 1920s Edinburgh, Scotland, and our main character, Evelyn Hazard, she is like just, you know, your typical housewife of the time. She comes from a family who's like very respected. Her husband is respected as well. They have a nice place within society, and then her husband starts saying that he can talk to ghosts. He can talk to spirits. They talk back to him, and he wants to share his gift with the world. Evelyn feels like this is like not a good idea for a variety of reasons. She's worried that her husband is losing his mind, but more worryingly, what if he's telling the truth and now they're becoming entangled with like the very out there spiritualist movement, which was very counterculture and not like proper society in the 1920s. So as they become more and more entrenched in the society, Evelyn starts worrying if her husband has lost his mind, if he's taking advantage of people, or maybe most horrifyingly of all, if he's telling the truth and can communicate with the dead and maybe figure out secrets about her past that she wants to remain buried. So I'm about 60% of the way through this one. I really pretty much just read it like on the flights, but very, very enjoyable. I really like, it's almost giving me Great Gatsby vibes, not because it takes place in the 1920s, because they're very different in terms of that, but your main character is almost on the periphery, just observing like the entrance into wealthy, eccentric society and just watching like strange things strange rich people do. It very much gives those vibes. Like Evelyn, you know, her husband is the one who's communicating with spirits, who's bringing them into the society. She's on the outskirts kind of watching, same as Nick when he is watching Daisy and Gatsby and everyone kind of do their own thing, and he's very much like a part of the group, but like a very passive narrator watching outside. They both like feel like the same in that protagonist sort of way. So if you liked The Great Gatsby, the way it was narrated, the way the story is kind of taking place while also kind of talking about just exploring the social events and the culture of that time, especially through the really bizarre spiritualist movement of the time, I think you'd really enjoy this one. I'm having a good time with it. I am going to be quite honest though, after this one, I know I said I wanted to read that Josh Malerman. I still probably might, just because I said that I wanted to read it, and I'd kind of like to stick to that plan throughout this vlog, but I am in a high fantasy mood. I'm in a high fantasy mood. I'd like to revisit the rest of the Massiverse. Not necessarily ACOTAR, because I reread that this summer, but definitely finish up Throne of Glass and then also Crescent City before January. It's like the second to last day of November, so that is looking more and more dicey as time moves on, but a girl can hope, and we'll definitely have to see if that gets done. So I want to finish Hazardous Spirits. That one, I have to remember that I have it on my phone now that I'm back with my library collection. So yeah, I'm not sure. You'll see when I figure out what I'm reading. I probably will start Empire of Storms. I don't know how much I'll vlog about that though, because it's a reread. I don't have a lot of new information to say about it, and especially not like especially like non-spoilery information, because I'm like Charlie Kelly, like in It's Always Sunny. I have all of those red strings. I'm looking for those connections, and I'm like really going through like this multiverse thing. So all that to say, I don't know what I'm going to read next. I am, if ever, very predictable in that sense. But yeah, this has been a pretty lengthy update, but it's been a while, so welcome back. It's the same vlog for you, but it has been a hot minute since I've sat down in front of a camera and talked about reading and my life and all that. So yeah, that's the reading update, and didn't have a lot of reading in this update, but next update we'll have a lot more bookish updates, I promise. So yeah, I'm gonna go get to work again, because unfortunately vacation's over and I have to do that again now. But it was a pleasure talking to you all again, and I will talk to you later with another bookish update. Thank you. friends, happy Friday and happy December 1st. Yeah, I was I was editing this vlog, and I realized I started it November 1st. So we've been going for like an entire month, obviously traveling multiple weeks. I think I was only home about a week and a half all of November. NaNoWriMo, which didn't go so great. It did and it didn't. I got about like 25,000 words. And I'm doing my own personal nano in December to try and make up for just not having the time to write, or really the inclination to write, as I was enjoying, you know, my life. So there's always next year, next month. I am going to try in December to hit that 50K word mark because I'm feeling really, really good about the project that I'm working on. So yeah, busy November. I am going to wrap this vlog up on Saturday or Sunday. I haven't really decided yet. It'll be sometime this weekend, just because now it's just like a full monthly vlog, honestly, which is okay. There's going to be more uploads in December because I am definitely not going to be halfway as busy, but all of that being said, I did finish a book, my very last book of November, which, you know, definitely a reading month that I didn't read as much as I normally do for obvious reasons, but that was Hazardous by Anbara, Salam, and I ended up really enjoying this one. I will say, because I was reading it on my phone and I didn't have a physical copy, the ending really caught me by surprise. It was very sudden and I didn't realize that I was like on the last chapter of the book until I flipped the page on my phone and it was the acknowledgements. So I think part of my shock and like the sheer, like the absolute suddenness of it was because, you know, when you're holding a physical book, you can see when you're at the last couple of pages. So the ending was a pretty shocking reading experience for me because the chapter ends, you flip the page, you want to find out what happens next, and it ends. Although now that I'm sitting back on it, I do think that the nature of the book and kind of what you're exploring, the non-definitive way that it ends benefits the book. And I ended up enjoying it, but just keep that in mind. It's a very abrupt ending and it doesn't answer everything for you, which I feel like with this book, with the crux of, you know, is there life after death? I feel like that's a question we as humans are still trying to figure out and have a lot of different opinions on. So I totally get why this historical fiction book would leave it off with no definitive answers, but I did enjoy it. I would be interested in checking out more by this author. I really, really enjoyed just the way this was written. It very much did remind me, like I said earlier, of the way that Great Gatsby was written, where you have a protagonist that's like watching all of this craziness take place, and then just like some internal mysteries as well. So I enjoyed that one. For my first book of December, I decided to make it easy on you, easy on me, and pick up a book that I have already mentioned in this vlog, which is Spin a Black Yarn. I finished the first short story in this collection, and that is Half the House is Haunted. Which was very, very short. It was only 28 pages, but I thought it was a really good introduction to this short story collection. I think that little kids in horror make such great unreliable protagonists, because even for things that aren't supernatural, kids can be unreliable. Like, they don't know like what being drunk is, for example. Like in here, their parents, like their mom gets drunk, they don't understand the way they're kind of describing their mom would be different than a way an adult would describe a drunken person. So I really like kids for unreliable narrators in horror, because it adds a little extra, you don't really know what's happening because the kid doesn't really know what's happening. So I enjoyed that. Moving on to the next one, which is Argyle, which is a dying man confesses to homicides he never committed. And Half the House is Haunted, the first one I read, it's about two young children and one of them tells the other that half the house is haunted. So very short, very interesting, creepy little short story. And this next one, I'm not sure how long it'll be. I think it'll be longer than the 28 pages, but looking forward to reading that. And I'll check back in a little bit later today when I've gotten through some more short stories in this collection. Hey
Hey friends, happy Sunday. I kind of messed up on my last update for this book because I said that the first short story was only about 20 pages and silly me, it's about 60 pages. It's just divided into 3 parts. I mistakenly thought that the second part was the start of a new short story. So yeah, oops. So Half the House is Haunted, that's the first short story in this collection. It is about 60 pages, not 20 pages. It's following 2 siblings throughout their lives. So we get to see them as they are very young children, adults in like their 40s, and then at the end of their lives when they're in their 80s, talking about their childhood and their house and interacting with each other and just realizing that, you know, is their house haunted or is their childhood haunted? I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. I thought the first and the third parts were a little more well done than the middle part. I wanted a little something more from the middle part. And I think that the way that it started was part of my confusion as to whether it was a part of the story or not. Either that or I've just been like very tired trying to get back from jet lag and lots of vacationing in like different time zones. So probably my fault. But I did finish the first short story in this collection and I am now moving on to Argyle. I haven't started it yet, but that's the one that is about a dying man who confesses to homicides that he never committed. So looking forward to that one. You'll be seeing this in next week's vlog. Yes, we're moving back to the weekly vlogs, not monthly vlogs. You know, this is not a typical month. But also I wanted to mention I did read Iron Flame throughout this month as well. I managed to grab a copy when I was back home at the beginning of this month, and I've kind of been picking it up off and on throughout the month. I did end up finishing this last night. Yesterday me and my partner just had like a movie marathon and did like some parallel play as he did Minecraft. I read, so I did finish this, and I wasn't going to mention a lot about it because it's a sequel. Everyone has been talking about it in some way or another. But I did want to mention, I thought, wow, I felt it was rushed because Fourth Wing just came out. So I felt like this was definitely rushed production. And I could see just in like some pacing how it might have benefited from another like look through and another draft before publication. I didn't think it was bad. I actually really enjoyed it. The world building, a lot of the things that I kind of had a little bit of an issue with in the first book were rectified, and the conflict is less basic and more just interesting. Especially with the end. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they didn't really like this one, and while you might not suspect like at all what this is going to be about based on the first book and just like where this book goes, I think if the pacing had been trimmed just a little bit, I really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun reading it. So yeah, I think with a book like Fourth Wing where the expectations for a sequel were so high and it was just like such a bombshell of a book, I have a feeling that like second book syndrome was going to be high for this one, and I totally get that. I totally get why people might be disappointed with this one. There was a lot less spice in this one, which I enjoyed actually. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll probably be picking up the next book in the series, but I wanted to mention that I did in fact read Iron Flame. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I realized that I hadn't mentioned that throughout this whole vlog, and I had been steadily reading this throughout the month and finally finished it. So it's officially my first book that I finished in December. So that is this month's reading vlog. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what is your favorite book that you read in the month of November and what you're planning on reading in December. Subscribe to my channel for all of the cozy gaming and bookish content. Stay safe, stay spooky, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye!